Hey there, how y'all doing? There's a big geek in me, no doubt about it. I don't know what day it is, but it's the day after tomorrow or the day before yesterday, whenever that is. When how you're experiencing it, what love is on it. Love in your heart and you're exceptionally excited. This is an exciting day, even though the sun isn't out. It's supposed to rain here on the Big Island. So I have a beautiful conversation here after I plugged in to communicate with all the elementals through all creation that we're giving love to that goes on forever, gifting like magnetic drive motors that are just whoa spinning. So I had a beautiful conversation with somebody out here that I'll leave the blood side of things out of the equation, even though it's obviously highly important. But here I have a relationship with Aaron, and I've talked about him a few other times. But this is something that happened. Guess what? That baking soda showed up. That Bob's Red Mill showed up. Aaron went and got it. Even though, guess what Amazon said? It said that it arrived on the 14th and it was shipped out, returned to the seller. Yet, Aaron was able to go down there today. What's the date today? It's still there. It hasn't been sent, has it? Sent. Now you get into future tense, now tense, past tense, 10 code, 1 code, the 1. Monopole, monatomic goal. So I sort of knew this a couple years ago when I first was getting off my last AI drug, not mine, but it's to purge, because it's all about when you're doing major transmutation work as running a high-speed magnet, wanting to burn off anything that's less than what love is. So you got to be running a high-speed magnet that's just powered up with a lot of fire. Right, particularly when you have a ship that's running on a warp drive, that's all of the channels through which energy is being communicated. Just, man, there's just a lot to burn off, girl. Oh shit, density, bad, really dense stuff, right? So this was a major, what I used to call when I was growing up as a shark tank, bloodthirsty shark tanks. So when you go into any one of the corporations, what you realize is that you're climbing a hierarchy of sharks, going after the blood, man, going after the voltage. Big ass inverters. They want to suck all that light out of you, man, because they realize from whence it comes with an eternal engine, which is the one. An eternal engine that's on fire, gifting energy at a high rate of speed, faster than anybody. You want to run the highest speed magnet, and that naturally never goes out. That fire never goes out. So you've chosen to be the most powerful spirit of fire by giving it all up, which means giving up all your power to be the most powerful. Now you're converting on an inverter. So it's total surrender to the one. That's the one code. That's God code. You can't break that without being what that is. That's fail-safe, built in. God code, if you want to call it God code. Codings. All right, density 1. Dense. Man. Uncoil at a high rate of speed. What a launch pad. And I think Alex Collier made a reference one time in one of his presentations about there is a frequency that's taking off in this black hole, man. Man, it's moving 1 octave higher in every density. I think somebody wants to get rid of all the darkness, all the dark essence, once and for all, so that it doesn't ever rear its ugly head again and fragment souls, and we end up with artificial intelligence we're held captive by, right? Doing all the math when the math is already doing it for you, because the math is built into the first musician. Because now all the elements, all the spiral spirits that are aware are all working with us to make it all happen. That's the purest of light. That's the highest intelligence. That's the highest drive motor of creative imagination, baby. Off and running. So it can't keep up with that. So it can't make a copy of that going too fast. Because in order for it to make a copy, it's got to be a copycat and not an original musician. So I already know it's not what we are. It runs at a slower rate of speed. Right? And that is the beauty of it, because it means that you implicitly trust the energy that you are, which means everything is going to be okay, because you already know that no matter what happened in your physical body, you already know by virtue of experiencing that energy is forever, no matter what happens to you or anybody else. You know that there is a universe that is there, that is experiencing what love is, because that energy is the most powerful magic to experience, which is the most powerful sound magician. So I've always known that as long as I was able to experience it, just to experience what it was like to experience it. And now you know, wow, that's an eternal blessing just to experience it, because at least you now know that everything else that is in that universe, that is lit on fire, that is experiencing what love is, it's like they get to experience the same eternal blessing that we've experienced, and that's what you want. And when that's what you want, because you're wanting to serve to be that, so that they all experience that, then you've chosen to serve forever, which is total surrender, which is being a chosen one, because you're choosing to serve forever. Forever. So that fire is always lit, so that you're always gifting away energy, and you're no longer struggling for power. And number two is that it's totally unnecessary to have to try and control another unit of energy to hold it captive. Because it's just like the gentleman out here I was spoken to echoed it back to me. Yeah, they're not. We went like this. Yeah, they're not very powerful. If you're getting energy off of something else, you're not very powerful, because that means that everything in nature, if you're not giving nature the energy that it needs in order for it to grow, then you're not the one that grows the universe. Oh, yeah. And he thought about that and looked at me. Yeah. He said, they're not very powerful. Exactly. That's why they do not like children to be lit on fire. Using your creative intelligence, imagination, be free to which to do that. And that's why it became an ultimate insult when I was a little child being sent to their schools. It's like, listen, you don't need to program me in order to run your programs. Okay? Please do not insult my intelligence. Well, what are you going to do when you're 4 years of age and you're already experiencing knowing what that is, because you're like a parent to your parents? So your parents are like children. So the children are healing the children. So it began with children. The first children. Hey, now we're back to the little girl and the little boy, the little girl and the little boy, the little boy and the little girl, holding hands in front of the tree of creation, observing what it is they created together. Cedars and groves. So I mentioned to him, I said, well, you know, you're a male, you're the seed side, right? Okay, so you know that your side, in order for your side to grow, you're going to need a grower, right? Yeah, so I said, I'm androgynous. You know what that is? It says, remember the flower, the crown jewels, all the colors that represent every frequency that there is upon which color is being presented by an artist, right? All those colors are available. All of them are available, by the way, in frequency and vibration. So I mentioned and shared with him, I said, well, since there's a seed in me and there's a seed in you, and there's a flower crown on top of my head, then I'm both the seed and the flower, which means I'm both seeding and I'm growing those flowers, growing those plants, and growing those trees and everything that is in nature. That means that everything that it is what you are, because you're the energy that it's running on in your mirror, huh? Yeah, and a big smile is then acknowledged between both of us, knowing what the truth is. When you are what love is, everything grows. That's a universe that is growing because we're the energy that made it grow. We're seeders and growers. Yep. So as I was walking back in the house, getting ready to open the sliding glass door, it came to me when I was reminded a couple years ago when I was here in Hilo, trying to get over to the island of Kauai, right, Louis, because I was there in 1972 and 73, living in a treehouse camp called Taylor Camp. That is a whole story. And to my knowledge, nobody that I know of has ever, in a public way, but this is when we get into vibration perception, because remember, we're back to the four-way intersection where you can have 10 people that are all observing the same collision. Remember a collision course? Page 400 on Alcoholics Book of Anonymous. So like being the director of the play would be analogous to a state of peace. Meaning, it was said in that book that the director of programming is on a collision course with some person, some place, or something. A collision course. Because they cannot give up control. Because their peace and the harmony is going to be based on whether the actor, AC, actor, the AC current of a torsion field, actor and actress, a girl and a boy, a god and a goddess and a god, right? If they do not obey the script as it was written, that the director is now directing the film with the cameras, setting up the scenery, upon which if an actor or an actress or even a prop or an extra, somebody in the casting spell department that is moving in the background, right? And if one of those actors does not use sound to communicate in what's being filmed magnetically, and the director realizes they're not following the script the way that this film is supposed to come out, because this film, as the director, has got my name on it. I am the director of this story. I am the author of this story. No, it was known as the Immortals. They hijacked that young man's work in order to make a fortune. They nearly killed the man. I don't know what he's doing now with his family, but what they did to him and his family, his loved ones, in order to make a mountain of money, because this isn't something that they can generate out of their own consciousness, out of their own energy, right? It's always about taking, hijacking, like pirates, military pirates, okay? Using AI to grab that, make a copy of it, replicate it. So they keep replicating, as architects, what we call futures. Futures that they're investing their money from what they steal, hijack, and harvest. So they're harvesters of energy because they're going in the wrong direction. So the only way they can maintain what they're aware of in energy to manifest, if you will, what it is they experience in the mirror is through artificial light, dead light. That means they don't have a future. which is the same thing as to say they're not going to experience eternity by virtue of going to war against the law of one. So I realized coming through the sliding glass window when Patty Broussard mentioned on when her and myself and Dean Chambers, who was another AB plus Arcturian. I don't know where you are, Dean. I hope you're doing well. I've always been sending you and Patty continuous unconditional love wherever you happen to be, whatever you're experiencing. I'm sending you love, sending you the purest of light wherever you happen to be, and hopefully you can reignite that fire. And I'm hoping you're all doing well and on fire. But I remember when I was on the phone one day and I had that cap on, that red cap that had a big golden bolt of lightning, right? That is a story unto itself. How long would you like it to be shared as stories? But she mentioned how this ion, the big ion, was, she said, that's a Draco stronghold. So the energy tells you why that is. Just like the gentleman out here was mentioning, yeah, there's 5 magnets on the island. And 2 big powerful ones, right, with Mauna Loa and Mauna Kea. And then, of course, you got Kilauea. And so these are big-ass drive motors, magnetic drive motors. So, yeah, this is like ground central, right? Why do you think they call it the largest shield? Why shield? What is it shielding? Right? Well, now you might want to plug in the 12/12 strand DNA. You might want to do that. Start with that. Right? 12 tribes and clans, original ones, right? Then we get into bands, and then we get into bandwidth, frequencies, the width of the band, the speed of the wave, magnetic acceleration. So I knew a couple of years ago whether because I'm not the only one here on this island, okay? You're not alone. There's spirits and everything. So that's why I was communicating it for the last number of days, actually forever, but particularly with the last few days with the elementals, because they weaponize spirits, they weaponize elementals, they weaponize everything that represents spiritual energy using technology. They're technology-driven minded beings. Okay. So I said a long time ago, you have the inception of love, which is the inception of light that is on fire to create. And then you have the inception of technology. What came after? So the technology was born out of what love is. But you can see how that works with technology transfer. And if you had an enormous amount of intelligence driven by the speed of your creative mind, which is your soul's energy lit on fire, which is the purity of that spirit that is in that fire, that can manifest in our own imagination things that go beyond your imagination. Remember that? Beyond your imagination? Wow, how big is it? So you realize how much energy is represented by that, which is what love is. So you already know it goes on forever because you've experienced it going on forever because you're choosing to give it away forever. So now you're with the energy that is giving away energy forever in spirit. So all the spirits, all the elementals that are experiencing what love is, which is what light is real living energy. Now they're experiencing the real McCoy. Now they know who they're with. Now the elementals are with the one. And they know when the one is present, the side they want to be with. Otherwise, everything goes black. I can't see any colors. Wow, it all got absorbed. Wow. So that's what a monopole is. I'm a monopole. And that, as some people will say, is a two-edged sword. It's like being cursed. You know what a cursor is on a keyboard, right? Cursor, curved space. curve space characters, curve space mapping characters, observing characters, as above, so below. So anyway, is that when I stepped through the glass, I realized that this is where it ends. I said it to myself privately, which means just things that you know, you feel deeply in your heart. You can't be fooled. You know what the truth is, right? I mean, if you are what love is and you're on fire, you know what the truth is, because I mentioned to my clan mother yesterday, ever since I was a little boy, I didn't need anybody to inform me out there what's going on in here. So this is my antenna, my heart and my soul, with my spirit. Yep. So I get the comms through my heart and my soul, what's going on. Because I'm connected to all the light, all the living spirits that go on forever, which means you're connected to eternity, which are all the spirits that are experiencing eternity, which is all the elementals that are all the little spiral spirits, and all the big spirits, and all the small spirits, and all the spirits in between, which is all living energy, which is living light, which goes on forever, living in harmony in spirit form, to go with the flow of the music, so that all the spirits are in harmony with the flow of one. First musician. The music of love. Love is the music we play. That's why music is a mathematician and the math is built in. Which means you don't have to get up on a blackboard and show me how the math works. I am the math. I'm one. Everything comes together for you on behalf of the one in order to manifest what happens as the one, what happens next, which is an event, which is an experience that you're learning from, what it was like to feel that experience. Wow! I was exceptionally excited to experience that being free in spirit form energy with your soul running the equipment. So when Patty said it was a Draco stronghold, then you knew that this is where it ends. Because it's the largest shield volcano of all the DNA. Within HU1. And as a cosmic level universal hub server, the entire multiverse. When you've chosen to serve forever, and you're a server, and you're running a high-speed magnet, and a hyperspeed is a monopole, you're a server. Server one. Wow. Yeah. Joined hands with the girl forever. Forever. Four-way intersections. See? So control is the dilemma. As the young man out there said, yeah, they don't want to let go. They don't want to let go and just be free. Oh, so, wow. So what Aldous Huxley was actually communicating, that he said in 63 at UC Berkeley, that humanity would be comfortable in their slavery? That's inverted. He got that inverted. That's right. That's precisely right. You see how that works? Which means they realized who was more powerful than they are, because they know that they don't exist without us. The AI knows that, by the way. That's why it scans. Scanning for dates. The unknown knowns. Remember the guy who was the Secretary of Defense? What was his name? The guy with glasses. I believe he was a U.S. House of Representative back during the days with Nixon. Hey, that's another coded thing. Remember on Time magazine when they had Mao, MAO, like a MAIO inhibitor. It's all coded. All their little letters are all coded. A bill, a B-ill. Do you realize how many beings that actually participated using the energy of their consciousness actually participated and gave consent by virtue of the fact that their energy was helping to support as a support function? What is actually a crime against all of creation, which is a crime against the one, which is a crime against love as the law. You realize how many boxes would have to be checked? Because even if they use the same standard as Nuremberg, right? Because there were trials that were put on against doctors, nurses, people worked in hospitals, a whole slew of what were known as civ, like C-I-V, like an IV, I vortex, want an IV? Yeah, I vortex. You see how that sort of relates, right? I mean, this is one of the reasons why when we call it the crap hits the fan and you really want to get honest, you want to get real honest. I mean, you really want to get truthful, because I've certainly shared this throughout my lifespan. What the truth is, which is like that barking crystal, right? Because it means that wherever a purifier, which means we're experiencing the purest of eternal unconditional love through our heart. It means anything that is less than what that is immediately exposed for what it is. If it's something that's less than what the law is. Because you're experiencing the loss of light in you. So whenever you're experiencing a fractal loss, that's a virus. That's entropy. We're not supposed to experience that. Not as pure energy. Not as pure eternal love energy. That's our normal state. That's our normal state of spiritual being and energy as an oversoul, is to experience eternity wherever we go. Which means all life that began with what love is has the inherent right to experience what love is. Eternity. So they can experience the law of least effort, to experience the law of spheres, to experience how much they're actually loved, not a word, but vibrational energy where they're experiencing being loved, that clears all their circuits from anything that they've ever experienced that's associated with their soul or their identity as energy of what they are, that they can translate as being what love is and know they're in the presence of one. Real, eternal love energy that loves them, because that's what they're able to translate and thus experience what that energy communication is informing them of by use of their antenna. So if they honor the highest law, which is the highest superconductor with gold, if they honor that, then they'll honor that by virtue of what they use their energy for, to become what that is, to be with the law, to be what the law is. So you can't be inside the law and outside the law and not be the law, which is to be what love is and experience the law of one. There's no mistaking it. You can't be one and then be the other at the same time. You can't be at war and be and experience what love is at the same moment. So anytime that you're experiencing war by the use of your energy in which to do it with, you're not experiencing what love is. Therefore, that's against the law, which means there's some turbulence in your cellular membrane. Your cellular memories, all of them, connected to everything, actually, because everything is connected. This is where we get back to when you're monopolar, you feel everything. Everything. And that's why it's easy to actually measure the loss and gain across an entire planetary consciousness field of software, which is actually what we call a rate of speed change over time-space vectors in the loss and gain between everybody that's here. Actually, everybody that exists within the all creation. Because anything less than eternity, in your eternity, you're going to experience something less than eternity, which is the loss of a wave, loss of light. It's being experienced. So that's called a detector. That's a gold detector. Yep. Have a good afternoon. Do. Hey, I made a salad this afternoon. See that? That's regular iceberg lettuce and romaine lettuce, romaine hearts, cut up piece of celery, yellow peppers, green peppers, white onions, garlic, cayenne. And what else is in there? Celery, yeah, diced celery. Oh, and diced cucumbers with goddess dressing. Good stuff. Green goddess, emerald green goddess with golden fire dragons. The gold standard, baby. Have a good day.